Welcome everyone, today we have a new guide video for Diablo 4. Now this video I'm quite ambitious because I'm trying to show you guys 3 builds with Druid, and I'm trying to show you all the leveling process and also the endgame build for the Druid for level 25 and also the codex. So we're basically looking at 3 builds super fast, and then we look at the codex and how to build it from level 1 to level 25 and then what you do at level 25. So bear with me if it takes a little longer, but those are really good builds. So let's get into the video. Now coming over to our first build, I'll briefly talk about each build as they get to level 25, then I come back and show you guys how to level from level 1 to level 25 fast with this build, and then you can have the choice of picking this build or picking a mix of the build as you level up, and then we talk about the codex. So quickly going through it, this is going to be a claw and also shred build. This build will actually have 2 companions which gives you massive boost of critical chance by 22%, and also by 13.85%. I don't know where they got the numbers from on this one. And this build will also have increased attack speed by 15%. This build also have a really good poison slow, which allows you to do more damage to the poison enemies. Finally, this build has lactate rate, which allows you to do multiple slashes, and this can potentially one-shot boss with the correct timing and also a massive crit at the end by 200%. Now, if a shift-shifting melee druid sounds good for you, let's get into the build for level 1 to level 25. So right away, we're going to claw, and also we go 1 level into claw. Now, this is the method of me leveling if I want to play the build and test things out. So I go with shred. Notice that you want to go higher levels of shred to level 7. And at this time, you unlock a lot of the passives. None of those passives are very good in terms of offensiveness, so you have 2 choices. You can keep leveling up in shred with level 7, or you can come over here for blood hole. I decided to go with blood hole, so this way I have the blood hole reduction to cooldown by 1 second when we kill something, and also the 15% bonus attack speed. Now you just need 2 more points to get to the next part, which is going to be the fun part. So we go 1 more point into shred, and over here you can have a choice. You can go upgrade into shred and also getting the other upgrade. Now here you can also go with poison, but very soon you'll see we'll get more critical chances, so I recommend going with the critical damage. So here will be level 12, right? And coming over here, we get 2 of the really good companions. I recommend getting 1, 2, 3 right away, so we get all 3 companions, and this way we have more actives. So by level 15, you have 5 or 6 actives if you get all the companions. And then followed by getting Raven for the increased critical chance, and then followed by getting increased chance with Vine Creeper for another 20%. And now that we're at level 18, we can look towards in getting Rabies for additional damage. So the build will always focus on getting more damage. And notice over here that we can be reducing one of the companions for more damage in terms of the shift. So here I can consider going for the shift over here, so I go 1 point, and then if I take away one of the active spells, let's have a look. So this doesn't change, right? So this means we still have enough points to get to Wrath. And as for the Rabies, I think 1 point is enough. I do think you can go 1 more point over here, or during this time, if you want, you can come back over here and finish off Shred. And similarly, you can come back over here and finish off Wild Claws for the additional attack. And you're level 20 now, almost there, right? So here we can go with 1 more point over here. And also, what we're going to do is we want critical chances. And I do believe we have a very good melee critical chance that is located over here. So around this time, we do want to increase critical chances by another 9%. So this is focused on the shred, which will deal bonus critical damage. And then we'll focus on a lot of critical chances over here and also over here. And you won't be lonely because you have lots of companions. Now you're level 24, you come over here for lactate rate and also its upgrades. This means that you have the highest chance of critical hitting with lactate rate, which is a melee skill that deals a lot of damage and especially high damage at the end of the final strike. Now I found this build really interesting because this allows us to play with the shift and also to level really fast, and also to see how much damage you can deal with the Druid while shifting. What I do recommend is, if you see some of the pathways you like on the first build, you can still use that partially for the second or the third build I'll show you guys. So this way you kind of try everything out while you're leveling, and that's recommended because it's really cheap to reset spells while you're leveling, especially under 20. You can try all the companions, try all the defensive spells, or even try some magic spells, which we'll talk about the magic Druid very soon. Now we're calling the first build the Werewolf critical build. I did make a video on this previously, that's why I can go so fast. So I'll briefly touch you guys up on the codex for the first build. One of the few, interesting codex you can find that's showing the gap, this one's from Fracture Peak. So you gain stealth after killing with Shred, and Shred is going to be a major sort of skill, right? And after that, you can do Ambush, which guarantees your critical strike for the next 1 second, and you can attack multiple times during that. Right away, you can be making this one from the dungeons if you don't have the codex. And then what you want to do is you want to kill enemy with Shred and then use the last 1 second to get 100% critical chance on multiple hit for your ultimate. And this is going to be the fun part, right? You'll be like boom, 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 popping numbers everywhere. And here we also have a few nice ones. So increase your damage of your core skill if you're fortified. Now you might be able to find sources of fortified, and if you do not, don't have to worry about this one. And over here we do have another increased critical chance by 5%, and this also increases, for your companions. You also have 2 companions, right? And also allies sometimes if you play the world boss. So 5% critical chance is not bad. You can also craft this one, and this is offensive. So if you craft on the 2-handed weapon, you can go 10% chances. But you might go with something else, right? And finally, there is also the unsated. So after killing enemy with Shred, you gain resource generation and also deal 20% more damage. This one's so good. I was like, why is it in resource, right? So definitely try this one out as well. You can craft this one. And unfortunately, I don't think you can craft this one on a weapon. But that's still 20% more damage, right? And also more resource. And it's also crafted. So that's why I want to show you this build first. It has a lot of potential with a lot of codex that is available in the game in the first region. Finally, because you're critical hitting a lot, if you do happen to get, critical chance increased movement speed, Wind Striker aspect, go for this one as well. Now, of course, we do not have the first specialization for the Druid, so we won't cover this one, but there's a lot of critical chances. I'll just show you the Eagle and also the Swamp. So if I was going, I would definitely go with the 5% and also the 30% bonus to critical chance and also strike. But of course, we can't go for that, so it's a little teaser for the launch, right? Now coming over to a second build. Same as before guys, I'll give you a small introduction, a teaser of the build, about its highlights, then we'll go through the perks from level 1 to 25, then we'll go through the codex. This build actually focuses on a major aspect of the Druid, and this is gonna be overpower and also plus the Druid's crushing blow, which means that when you deal earth damage, you have crushing blow. And this is going to be a highlight for the Druid. And this build will focus on a lot of control and also bonus damage from controlling enemies and also immobilizing them. I try to speak a little slower. This build will also be a little more durable compared to the first one. This build will and also can use some of the companions. And finally, this build can also make use of the shapeshifting form with the Grizzly Rage, which means you can have up to 80% damage bonus on the last second of the 10 to 20 second Berserk for the Druid, which looks way better than the Barbarians. Now just in case you guys are wondering, what is Crushing Blow? Crushing Blow is when the Druid deals a percentage damage to the enemy's maximal health. This also works against bosses, elites, and also against players, but it's a little reduced. So this is a Druid specialization. Each of the Earth spells, only Earth spells have this ability. So it's quite important for you to try this out for the Druid, because it's like hidden mechanics. Now, I do not know if this mechanic is available for the Druid in the beta though, because they did mention about this on the skill teasers, right? So just in case it's not there, we're still in beta, guys. So resetting our skill tree, so we start from the beginning. What I want to do is, let's go to 1 level into Earth Spike for the build, for the Earth Druid build, and then we go to 1 point over here for the upgrades. Now, same as before, we want to use Landslide for a core spell. Now you can see a codex that can Paralyze into a core Earth spell, but you need a codex, right? This is not going to work for leveling. So go to level 7 over here for the Druid, and you unlock the next section. I recommend going with anything that you want to try, because they're active spells and you can reset them after. And over here, you can try the Roar, you can try anything. You can have up to 6 actives, and then you can come back. As long as you unlock the next part, it should help you level pretty fast with companions. So over here, I'll finish off with Landslide, and what that means is I can go with this one. This is quite interesting, the Primal Landslide. It wasn't there before when I was building the Druid, but this one looks very good. So the theme of the build allows us to focus on immobilizing and also stun enemies to get a special buff, which will guarantee with critical strike and also critical strike damage, which is quite interesting, right? And Landslide will be the focus of the build. We'll be buffing Landslide with increased core skill by 30% later. So around this time you'll be level 13. Of course, you could have been like level 12. If you're level 12 or 13, come over here, pick all the companions because they're good. And then we go to pick this one. So, and you take away those. So you kind of want the most offense as you can. And around 15, 17, you'll be here and you have all the companions. We slowly reset the companions as you level up. So notice over here we have Wealth, and we'll be going to boulders. As we go into boulders, you may be taking away one of the companions, maybe we'll take away the wolves, and of course you have 1 point shot, right? So let's perk into the ravens, so give you more critical chances. So level 17, come over to boulders, and you can perk all the boulders you want. And boulder will be another heavy hitting earth spell, which will allow us to deal damage in terms of the overpower. No, not only overpower, it also has crushing blow. So crushing blow means you deal a percentage of damage to the enemy's maximal health. Very powerful. Now, as we put more points into the boulder, what you want to count is, you want to count how many active spells you have. Ideally, you want to have up to 6 active spells, right? And here we're going to upgrades for the boulder. A really interesting point for the boulder is that when you have Fortify, it deals 75% increased critical strike chances. And this is going to be 100% crit, right? Pretty much. So once you get to this point, you kind of want to find more critical chances. You kind of want to find more Fortify. And one way to find more Fortify is going to be coming to the upgrades for the Earth Spike. So here, when you hit enemies who are controlled, you'll have percentage of Fortify. Another way to get more Fortify is coming over here for the Earthen Bulwark, and if you do perk into Earthen Bulwark, you can get Fortify. Now it is your choice how you get Fortify and how much Fortify you want, because ideally this build will give you more damage and actually level fast to level 25. And finally, of course, I recommend going into the Grizzly Rage. Now we'll talk about the points later, so I'm just showing you guys all the points you can go for, right? I recommend going into the Grizzly Rage, and this allows you to gain a little more, fortify while Grizzly Rage is activated while having Unstoppable. Now, if you just go with Grizzly Rage by itself, it also works. So those two are more defensive. If you don't find yourself needing those, the damage reduction and also bonus damage is really good. Grizzly Rage starts with 20% damage bonus, and by 10 seconds time, you're on 50% bonus damage. As long as you kill for your minions, you'll be on close to 70% bonus damage, which means this is much stronger than the Barbarian's Berserk. So here is one of the version of the final form of the build. So here you can see I perked into the upgrades and level 5 in Landslide. I did go in with the Earthen Bulwark, and I decided to try the damage for the Earthen Bulwark. But if you wanted the Fortify over here, make sure you come over here to try to Fortify. If I unclick this one, the whole thing changes, right? So here I did go with 1 point in Vine Creeper. Now if you don't want to try Vine Creeper, it's okay, but I want the Immobilize guarantee, and a lot of skills want to immobilize enemies for the special procs. So one of the example I mean by that is we really want to immobilize enemies for the special perks for the Landslide. And finally, we also have the skills over here for the pretty much the Grizzly Rage. Now, one thing I still want to highlight is this build has a variation. If you want to deal more damage with Landslide, you can still come back over here for the Wild Impulse for increase of 30% core skill damage. But of course, you have to juggle your points a little bit because you only have 27 points, right? So just keep in mind. Here, I thought you might want upgrades for this build, so I have the variation over here for you guys. Now coming over to the aspects of the Earth Druid, so a few of the highlights right away, you can see that there's particular aspects that you can find which is not in beta, but if you get lucky, this one looks nice. So this makes Earth spells deal 40% more damage, critical strike damage to crowd control enemies, and you have a massive boost to the critical chances. So here Boulder have a 75% critical chance boost. So this is going to be a massive combination if you can get it on a two-handed weapon, and all of a sudden you do 80% more critical strike damage if you get this right. And here you have another increase your core skill by 20% if you're fortified. Over here, because we're going with Grizzly Rage, we can increase Grizzly Rage by 1 second, and critical strike while Grizzly Rage is activated increases the critical strike damage by 10% for the duration. I don't think this is that massive, but I'm not sure if the number's right. So increase by 1 second, then increase by critical strike damage by 10%. It's not a lot, but hey, if it's for the ultimate, we can give it a try. And because you'll be immobilizing enemies, stunning them, and also kind of disabling them a lot, you can go with a 40% bonus to stun enemies. Now there is also a point over here which I'm not sure exactly how that works, but it seems like if you have Fortify Life, Earth spells will gain +3 ranks. And if that's the case, that's incredible, right? Everyone gets this one, because you'll go with a bit of Fortify anyways. So make sure you check out this one. If you get this codex, guys, let me know. Now, if you do like our second build of the Druid, I also have a previous theory crafted guide on similar Druid, and this even goes to level 50. but unfortunately the skill tree have changed since I was crafting that video. I have the videos available for you guys in the link if you do want to have a look, but it's not 100% correct after the update. So coming over to a third build of the Druid. Now I want to give you guys a variation. The first one was a high critical chance melee shapeshifting Druid. The second one uses the Druid special abilities. The third one should ideally help you level fast too if you want to try a mage Druid. There is also another variation where you can mix the lightning and also the earth Druid together for special benefits. But I don't think the lightning will level us that fast, so I'm not perking into lightning for the fast leveling builds. So we'll look at 3 builds, we might look at other builds in the future. Now a brief summary for this particular wind cyclone and also tornado Druid. So we'll be having wind spear, we have increased core damage, we have tornado, we also have cyclone and hurricane. I mean we also have hurricane, and we can use some of the special codex over there. This build can also use catechism, so this is a mage kind of Druid, so it's quite interesting, and you can use some of the build's ideas as you level up this Druid. This Druid is perked into more defensiveness, into more spell casting, and you can keep your distance and also range against enemies. Now coming over to a skill tree that we reset now. So what I recommend is going 1 point into Wind Spear and also going to the vulnerability, which looks really good. So here we'll be going into 1 point into Tornado until level 7. And after that, you can perk into the defensive spells if you want. I do think, let's say if you're a mage and we kind of play defensive, we can perk into 1 or 2. The goal is to get to 3 more points so you have your companions, because the companions will help you deal more damage. And over here, of course, you can pick the chance of extra tornado and also slows enemies with tornado. I don't think we need to have vulnerability, but at this point, you can also go with vulnerability, because the slow ideally is to have a guaranteed slow for the bonus to slow damage later. And 1 more point will take you to 12. So coming over here, we're going to the Wolves, we're going to the Vanquipper, we're going to the Ravens. And once you have those, you don't need those defensive active spells during this time. So you want to do a reset of leveling. And after you do the reset of leveling like this. So once you do the reset of leveling, you perk into the bonus damage to your core spells. And then you take away the Cyclone Armor. Oh, take away. And then we come back to Wolves, we come back to Vanquipper, we come back to Raven. And this takes us to level 17. Now, one of the major theme for Wrath over here is going to be the Hurricane. I keep saying Cyclone. So going to Hurricane to level 5 and level this up 1 more. And also, we can level this up 1 more into Vulnerability. Now, we can reduce the damage, but we don't really need that. Vulnerability allows us to deal more damage. At this point, you have 24 points perked in. And what you're going to notice is you do have, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. You have 6 active spells. If you go into ultimate, you have too many active spells. So we'll be doing another reset. And then this is where we pick and which of the companions we want to keep. Now for me personally, because my previous 2 builds as I was leveling up, I would have tried all the companions. So I kind of want to try a more defensive approach to this kind of Druid. So I decided to go with like the double defensive perks over here. So I actually took away all the companions as you can see over here. And we'll still be on 24 points. And this allows me to pick the final spell for the Druid. And picking into the upgrades for the Catechism is also nice for damage and also vulnerability. So in the end, this Druid will be the most defensive one. But if you like the companions, you can swap them around. Because I kind of want to cast my wind kind of cyclone spells and be a mage. So this is the focus of the Druid. It is a little different to the previous 2. I do think it's less well defined. But if you like it, let me know. And if you have a good codex, let me know as well. Now on the topic of codex, we do have 2 for this cyclone kind of wind hurricane Druid. One is the hurricane will deal increased damage by 7% each second it's activated. So this is not bad, right? So it could be a Hurricane Druid. And also here skills increase 24% damage when available resource is high. So if you cast Hurricane on really high resource, those 2 are really good. Now I wasn't able to find a lot of other good ones, but maybe you'll find some of those as you play the game, because those are only limited sections we can see in the beta. Now hopefully you guys like this video. Oh, it's not easy to make this one, guys. Wow, I'm super exhausted. So I try to cover everything for the Druid, all the 3 builds I can think of and everything we can think of. I did make another Druid build earlier for the 100% critical Werewolf Druid, but again the beta has changed with upgrades of the beta tree of the skill tree. So I'll show you guys a video in the links as well if you want to have a look for concepts and also ideas from level 25 to level 50, and also what you want to pick for the animals. But we'll talk about this after the beta, so we'll prepare lots of guides before the launch to prepare for the full level 25 to level 50 and also for the Paragon levels. Now before you go, and if you guys didn't know, we have a new YouTube channel. So I just started a YouTube channel with my girlfriend yesterday, and you can see this is only 12 hours old, this YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the behind the scenes and also fun clips and also more stories about us. And then you get to know me a little more personally instead of just reading the news and also the games, right? So I want to share a little bit more with you guys. So make sure you check this channel out if you're interested about Matt and also Uni. She's really funny too, and she's really shy. So I want to give her a surprise and do a shout out for the new channel to get some subscribers. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.